Then we get to the next part. So the first step was rapport. The second step was eliciting all those desires, and that's what we did in those three questions. The next step is to uncover the hidden challenges. What's keeping them from getting the results that they want? Well, there's a lot of things that hold people back, but the more specifics we get from people, the better. So the question here is, what do you think could be slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you from getting the results that you want? Now, this is a very powerful question. It's worded in this very specific way for a lot of reasons. One is, what do you think could be? There's something really powerful about could. Could is a softener. Now, if I were to just say, what's holding you back? There's going to be a party that might say, I'm not being held back at all. Nothing's holding me back. I'm powerful. Nothing stands in my way. And so we're activating the ego a little bit, right? And that's going to create some defensive-ness in some people, not everybody. But when you say, what do you think could be slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you? Now that could, it's like you're not admitting that this is what it is. It's saying, well, these are the things that could be what's going on. And that makes people feel more comfortable sharing. Also, I say, what do you think could be slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you? And the reason that I have it that way is the same thing. It softens. Now, actually, it starts soft and gets more firm. What do you think could be slowing you down? So not stopping you, but just might be slowing you down a little bit. You know, what could be slowing you down a little bit? Or maybe just standing in your way, but you could get around it, you know. Or stopping you. Now, by having all three, it's so soft, no one's going to feel that ego's not going to engage here. The ego's going to be like, oh, well, here's what could be slowing me down. Here's what could be slowing me down. Here's what else could be slowing me down, without having to say that anything's stopping me. All right? So now, by asking the question, though, we do have the stopping you in there because, frankly, many people are stopped. But by having them evaluate all three of those, slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you, and what could be, what do you think could be, takes the ego out, people can just explain away. And now as they explain all the things that are stopping them or slowing them down or standing in the way, as they explain that, they see, holy cow, no wonder I'm not getting where I want to go. Like I feel like I've dieted, but I can't stick with it because I don't have any discipline, which, we talk about the whole discipline thing. If you went through it as I took you through free sessions at Cell the first time, talked about mastering or optimizing your environment and how that's really important over discipline. But, if somebody's talking about it, it's like, oh, I can't discipline myself. I don't have enough discipline. That's one of the things standing in their way or stopping them, or I procrastinate, or I feel overwhelmed, or I don't have a clear plan, or I don't know what to do. I don't know how to eat, or, whatever those things are. The more that we can get of these things that are slowing them down, or these challenges, the more challenges we can get, again, it just puts more weight over here and pulls the balance out. Oh my gosh, I'm stuck because of this. I'm stuck because of this. I'm stuck because of this. Now, in some ways, you might be thinking, well, okay, some of those challenges are going to be the things that kind of weigh it back out. And that could be true, except that when we get deeper into this, then we make it so it all is on this side, which I'll explain here in a second. Well, we want to keep going. So one of the challenges that I know a lot of coaches have is asking this question over and over and over again. What else do you think could be slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you? Is there anything else that you think could be slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you? The more you ask this, the more we uncover the deep stuff. And if somebody's kind of resisting you and saying, that's it, really that's it. So you know what? You're probably right, but why don't you just look one more time and see if there could be anything else that could be slowing you down, standing in the way, or stopping you. And if you don't get any answers here that people just don't know, or you don't get enough, then you can take them through the 5-step client breakthrough system, which is how you explain coaching. You could take them through that system and just use it as an assessment. Like, okay, well, how clear are you on your vision for what you want to achieve? How clear are you on your plan? Do you have an action plan? What skills might you need to upgrade? How about your environment? And then mastering your psychology, where are you at on that? And you kind of take them through that assessment to dig up some more stuff. And I don't do that very often, only if I'm not getting a lot of meat here, a lot to work with that's pushing this side down. If I'm not getting a lot of challenges, then I'll do that. So we want to dig, and then if you get some resistance, try to dig a little bit more, maybe 1 or 2 more times. Now, how many times? I don't know the real answer to how many times to ask it. But I've asked it 5 times. I've asked it, I don't know, probably 7 times before. Usually, probably only 2 or 3 times. It really just depends on how much people share. Like, you could ask it once, and people could give you a 20-point list of all the things holding them back. Then, even when they get to the end, you're going to want to ask it at least one more time. I would say 3 is really the minimum, and 5 is probably, I don't want to say the maximum, but I'd say 3 to 5 times is where you want to ask, this question: what else could be holding you back? Because we're really building that case. Plus, we're creating that clarity. Like, oh my gosh, I get all this stuff out of my head, in front of me. I can see all of what I need to deal with now. And there's a lot of value in that. And again, we're not just building the case for why they want to coach with us, but we're building the case for why they want to make the changes that they want to make once and for all, whether with our help or without it. Ideally with our help, because we really can help them. But if they want to do it on their own, that's fine too. This is going to help them get a lot more motivated to go make it happen. All right, the next question is, what impact do you think these challenges are having on you? And we want to ask that because we want to take these challenges and we want to make them more real. And we want to ask it in a lot of different ways. So, first just ask it generally, what impact do you think these challenges are having on you? Then you might ask it in more in-depth ways. What impact do you think these challenges are having on your finances? What impact do you think these challenges are having on your health? What impact are these challenges having on your family? What impact do you think these challenges are having on your ability to get blah, blah, blah result that you're looking for? How long have you had these challenges? What's the worst part about all these challenges? Now, when you move from that one to what's the worst part, now you start really, they're going to go through their mind thinking about all these horrible things about these challenges and what's the worst part about it? What's, out of all of these, this one's the worst? And then you can amp it up even more by saying, why? Why is that the worst? Now here's the key about why. You can actually use the why at the end of the first section where we were eliciting desires, and we were talking about, if you could wave a realistic magic wand, what would you want? And then what would that do for you? And what would be the best part about it? You can ask why to amp that one up too. Use why if their best thing about it or the worst thing about it is a situation. But if it's already in emotion, they might say the worst part about it is the fact that they have to work a lot, And then you say, well, why is that the worst part about it? It's like, oh, because then I'm exhausted every day and I don't have any energy and, blah, 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 something like that. So that's when you want to ask why, as if it's a situation. On the other hand, if they say the best part is I just feel so free, I feel so happy, I just feel like on fire every day. And then if you say, well, why is that the best part? There's really nowhere else to go from there. They're already at the peak because they're at an emotion, they're talking in emotional words. So that's true on the high end, and it's true on the low end. So if they're already the worst part about it is, just feeling a certain way, then you don't need to ask why. But on the other hand, if it's a situation is the worst part about it, then you ask, well, why is that the worst part? And that's going to get them more associated, more connected to their emotional feelings, which is what this is all about. Again, we want to take them up to the highest highs, down to the lowest lows, because this is what is going to get them to make the shifts. Is them seeing what's possible for them and being able to taste it, being so clear about it. And then on the other hand, seeing all these challenges and how stuck they are and how much they need help with this and how much this is impacting them. I mean, it might be costing them, their health. It could be costing them their money. There's so much impact to them not making this change. And if you can help them with that, then you're going to change their life. And that's one of the great things that we need to realize too is we are in the life-changing business. When you coach somebody to lose weight, it's not just about the weight loss. I mean, it's their overall health, it's their confidence, it's financial, it's all it might be affect their love life, So when we help somebody make one specific change, it helps change everything. So it's really important that we get people really excited about what they want to achieve and really in touch with the pain of the changes that they aren't making yet. Okay, I just want to review that really fast because I ran through it pretty quick. And instead of it being one question, it turned into a barrage of questions. And so it really started off general. what impact do you think these challenges are having on you? We started off there, and then depending on their answers, if they start going into depth in all these different places, if they already are talking about how it's affecting their health, then you don't need to ask, well, how is it affecting your health, right? This is where we want to use our awareness. This is where there's the art and the science to this. This is where, if you just have the script, you can get powerful results with your intro sessions. You can start getting clients right away. If you studied the first part where I actually asked you the questions and you answered them so that you could feel the impact and how that affects you, that's another level of mastery. And then if you, now as you're studying this part, it's another level of mastery. And honestly, the greatest level of mastery is going to come when you start doing a lot of these intro sessions with people. And you can start really noticing how, how things really land for people. And this isn't brain surgery here. It's not like you're going to, touch the wrong thing and somebody's going to die or anything, And it's okay, they're in a place where they are very comfortable sharing with you, and they're very comfortable, that they're wanting your help. So if you fumble a little bit, or if your questions are a little redundant sometimes, they're going to be very forgiving. It's not going to cause a problem. You can still sign up the client. It's not a big issue. But I just wanted to point out that, you don't need to ask all these impact questions if those answers are already there. These are ancillary extra questions that you can ask. Again, the other questions are, how's this affecting your health? How long have you had these challenges? How's this affecting you financially? And then you could even go, well, if it's affecting you financially, you're losing $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month because of this challenge. How long has this challenge been going on? Oh, okay, so for the last 2 years. Well, how much do you think it's cost you financially over the last 2 or 3 years? When they start giving you those numbers, that can be very helpful for you when they're considering, paying for coaching. If coaching is $10,000 or $20,000 or $100,000, and how much being overweight has cost them, you can ask questions like what diet and exercise things have you ever tried in the past? And how much do you have any equipment? Have you ever hired a personal trainer? Like any of the things that people have done to spend money already to solve the problem, but it didn't work. That's part of the cost too. So you might find other places. Also, your food bills are probably going to go down. Like you're probably spending more money on food. Or maybe it all comes out in the wash. Maybe they're eating less food, but eating higher quality food, so maybe it's more expensive, but less of it, so maybe it ends up being the same. Bottom line is you want to look for those ways that, that they're already either losing money or losing out on money or losing out on health or, all these things, or happiness or sleep or whatever, like all the impact. We want to get as much of that as we can here. And then we move to what's the worst part about all these challenges, and then potentially why? Why is that the worst part?